I'm out once again this morning with the Canon RP. I've had this little camera for over 3 years now and it's been with me on so many landscape photography trips, but I've been thinking, is it time for an upgrade? In this photography vlog I'll talk through where I'm at with the RP itself, why I've stuck with it and whether it's still a solid choice for landscape photographers like me. I do find myself heading out to more local locations during the summer. I suppose it means that I can get out for sunrise like what I'm doing today, enjoying that golden hour light without having to get out of bed at some silly hour in the morning. This is a local location though, where I've really been able to enjoy some really beautiful sunrise moments over the last couple of years. I come out here like I do with any morning, with zero expectations, but I've always been previously delighted with whatever I've been able to produce from this location. And hopefully this morning will be no different. Back on topic though, and the discussion of whether it's time to upgrade and leave the Canon RP on the shelf along with my previous Canon. I have to admit though, my search for a new camera probably lasted no more than 10 minutes if I'm being honest. If I was to upgrade from the Canon RP right at this minute, it really wouldn't make financial sense. It wouldn't be a sensible decision. But that's not the sole reason why I wouldn't want to upgrade from the Canon RP at this moment in time anyway. There's going to come a time one day where I am going to have to put the Canon RP into retirement. But until then, I'm going to enjoy it as much as possible. But when that day does come, I've got to worry, I've got to think about what camera to upgrade to in the first place. There's so many options on offer, aren't there? Ideally, I'd upgrade, I think, to the Canon R5. That seems to be the best camera for landscape photography, but it's rather expensive. If it came to the day where I decided to upgrade my camera, there's nothing to say that I've got to stick with Canon, is there? There's so many good camera brands out there now. Fuji, Sony, for example. I actually looked into those two brands that I mentioned, Sony and Fuji, when I was upgrading from my Canon 100D before I settled on the Canon RP actually. The trouble is, photography, as we know, it's an expensive hobby. Changing your camera is one thing, but changing your lenses as well, that's another thing entirely. And of course, that's what I'd have had to have done had I changed my camera system to Fuji or Sony, etc. Yeah, it was much easier to stay with Canon, if I'm being honest. Talking of the Canon 100D, my very first DSLR, I have to admit it's been a while since I've used that trusty old camera. Maybe it's time I took it out on a trip with me once again. You can't beat old gear at times. So why, when I decided to upgrade 3 years ago, did I choose to go from the 1-100D to the RP? Well, price was a big factor. I think the RP still is the cheapest full frame camera that Canon have ever produced. Full frame, that is an important keyword, and it is a big reason why I decided to upgrade. You see, my 1-100D was a crop sensor camera. I hated the fact that you've got that mindset of you're not using an 18mm lens. You've got to think about the 1.6 times crop. It's just all a bit of a faff. And plus with a full frame sensor, you can shoot better at low light capabilities. You can shoot better in low light capabilities, I should say, which was perfect for this morning. But yes, whilst full frame is great, the low cost is great, the real reason why I decided to get the RP was the weight. It is so beautifully light to carry around. I do a lot of walking when I'm out with the camera, cover a lot of miles. Like you see, the Canon RP at the moment, it's attached to my bag. Barely feel it when I'm walking mile after mile. The biggest factor if I decide to upgrade my camera will be when I'm no longer happy with the results that this camera produces. But for now, when I take images like this with this little RP and review them back home in Lightroom, I'm more than happy with what the images look like, and that is the most important factor with any camera, I think. I think on that note, that is another trip out with the camera done and dusted. I think I've got some decent images. I hope I've got some decent images, I should say. But this is where I'm going to leave you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. But it leaves me to say one thing from me to you. Goodbye.